Well, a little earlier, we spoke to Doctor Anthony Turton in Johannesburg. He is an environmental advisor and professor at the Center for Environment Studies at the University of the Free State. We began by asking him what the point is of World Water Day and what is hoped to be achieved on this day.
Well, we need to understand that South Africa is a fundamentally water-constrained country. It's one of the 30th driest countries in the world. It's got one of the most diverse economies for the kind of ecosystem that we find ourselves in. And while we seem to have moved from drought to relative abundance in a short space of time, we must not forget the fact that just 6 months ago, Johannesburg only had about 1 week of water supply left. So we've really dodged the bullet. World Water Day is very important to help us to understand the global context of water. And in particular, this year they are highlighting the theme of wastewater recovery, which I believe is the future for the South African economy. In my view, the country that's got it right, certainly in Southern Africa, is Namibia. It's a country with a relatively small population but major water problems. And what's significant about Namibia is that when they got their independence, they resisted the temptation to purge their technical staff out of their civil service. So they generally retained their technical competence, and in fact they then embarked on a very aggressive program to upskill their people, and they become significant leaders in that regard. The other important thing is that they've adopted a regional cooperative approach. So it was under the direct leadership of the first Namibian president, Sam Nujoma, who actually reached out to SADC, the regional body, and drafted the very, very first international water law that is now regarded as some of the most sophisticated water law in the world. So Namibia has definitely been a leader. And just in closing, Namibia is embarked on the first significant desalination program. They built a desalination plant at Trekkoppie on the coast, and that plant has been built by South African engineers, and it's probably the forerunner of a number of desalination plants that will be rolled out over the next decade or two across the entire region. I think people generally, for whatever reason, don't want to understand the fact that we're living in a water-constrained area, or an area, certainly at a continental level, where water is not necessarily always available in the pipe system. Political will is a very, very important component to it, but beyond political will, I think what we have not got right is the policy framework that is enabled technologies to come available. Because it's not only a question of technology that is needed, it's also a question of making that technology investable. And this all comes back to the policy framework. And within that mix of policy stuff, we also have to understand the relationship between the state and the relationship between the private sector. In many cases, that's a tense relationship. And this is something that we have to resolve on the political side if we want to really make a difference in the future.